In the winter of 1122, a child was born into a fractured Germany, a land of rival dukes and defiant bishops. His name was Frederick, and his blood carried the fire of the Hohenstaufens and the pride of their rivals, the Welfs. This was a world where power was not given, but taken. Growing up, Frederick became a towering figure with a fiery red beard, earning him the name Barbarossa. He was a warrior, trained in sword and lance, but also a student of power, learning that authority rested as much on persuasion as on armies. His first great test came during the Second Crusade. The campaign was a disaster, a hard lesson in the costs of arrogance and poor planning. But Frederick returned wiser and battle-scarred. In 1152, his dying uncle, King Conrad III, bypassed his own son and named Frederick his successor. At just 30 years old, he was elected King of the Germans, promising to restore peace and imperial authority. Many doubted him, but Frederick believed in the sacred idea of empire, a legacy inherited from ancient Rome. He began by consolidating his power, making allies of former enemies, and traveling constantly to remind his subjects that their king was a living presence. But his vision stretched south, to the wealthy, rebellious cities of Italy. He saw their independence as a direct challenge. To be emperor in truth, he had to rule in Italy. In 1154, he crossed the Alps with an army, a storm from the mountains. He was crowned Holy Roman Emperor in Rome. But this was only the beginning of a long and brutal struggle. The great city of Milan defied him, and Frederick's response was merciless. After a long siege, he razed its walls, scattering its people. He seemed unstoppable, but his harshness sowed seeds of hatred. A deeper conflict brewed with the papacy. The Pope, Alexander III, excommunicated him, a spiritual weapon that threatened to unravel his authority. Frederick fought back, marching on Rome itself, but victory came at a terrible price. Disease ravaged his army, and he fled north with a shattered force. Meanwhile, his most powerful ally in Germany, Henry the Lion, betrayed him, refusing to send aid. Frederick never forgot it. Upon his return, he stripped Henry of his lands and titles, a decisive act that broke the power of the Welfs, but showed the world his mercy had limits. But Italy would not be tamed. The northern cities formed the Lombard League and united against him. The final showdown came in 1176, at the Battle of Legnano. Frederick led a fierce cavalry charge, but the Italian militia held firm. He was unhorsed, and panic swept his army. They were routed. Legnano shattered the myth of his invincibility. Beaten but not broken, Frederick finally chose compromise. He made peace with the Pope and granted the Italian cities their autonomy. His dream of absolute control was over. In his later years, an aged Barbarossa answered one last call to glory, the Third Crusade. Jerusalem had fallen to Saladin, and the old emperor gathered a massive army, enforcing strict discipline and winning victories against the Turks. It seemed that even in old age, his star still shone bright. But then, in the summer of 1190, disaster struck. While crossing a river in modern-day Turkey, the mighty emperor was swept away by the current and drowned. His army, leaderless and heartbroken, lost its will to fight. Frederick Barbarossa's body was laid to rest, but his story passed into legend. It was said he wasn't truly dead, but asleep in a mountain, his red beard growing through a stone table, waiting to return when Germany needed him most. He was a warrior and a lawgiver, a restorer and a destroyer. He embodied the medieval ideal of kingship, leaving behind an empire that was stronger for his reign, but still haunted by the dream of what could have been. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the past, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more stories from history.